here is my rundown of what happened on Saturday. Ooh, Saturday was a day, let me tell you. So my family was going to be doing stuff on Saturday. So they were off doing their own thing. And while I would have loved to take Benjamin to the grand opening, because kids are not vaccinated, we still feel really weird about taking children to places that are going to be really crowded with lots of people. Even though here in LA, there's still a lot of mask wearing, a lot of places it's still mandated for the next couple days at least, and then places can change their rules, whatever. But even with all that, and didn't know exactly how the day was going to go. So in the end, it's probably a good thing I did not take Benjamin for all the other reasons also. But I had talked to Jessica about going on Saturday, and she agreed to go. And I told her, yeah, Hudsonizer, that's Texas for you, for sure. Oh, Zardoz, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're doing better. So planning for Saturday, I sent a message to Jessica and I said, all right, look, in my life, I'm such a nerd. I've been to, every convention practically, movie openings, store openings, all this kind of stuff. And if it's something I'm interested in, I don't mind not sleeping. So I said, look, part of me is totally down to go at the crack of dawn to do this, but I could be persuaded otherwise. I said, if you really want to go, what's the earliest you'd be willing to go? And she said, well, I wouldn't want to leave any earlier than about 7. I said, okay, that's totally fine. So I said, how about I'll leave my place at 7 and I'll pick you up because geography. And so that was the plan. So I headed out. I left home about 7 o'clock. We got to Monrovia. Welcome everybody who's just dropping in. I'm recapping the adventure that was Saturday. So we get to Monrovia where the store is. Now you'll notice that in all the branding and all the advertisements and everything, this new store is called the Warhammer Store and Cafe Los Angeles. The store is in a place called Monrovia. It's in the greater Los Angeles area, but Monrovia is like an actual city. So what are you going to do? So we get to Monrovia at 8 o'clock. All according to plan. And there's plenty of parking in Monrovia. It's in this place called Old Town Monrovia. It's like nice little streets with a bunch of restaurants and shops and stuff. Parking's easy. We start walking over. We literally park like a block away. Walk over. We see the storefront, and we see a line that goes to the end of that street and then around the corner. So we walk past. We go that corner. The line goes all the way down that block to the next block. We see Fob and Knox were there. They had gotten there at, what did they say? I think they got there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they were about 40 people back. The earliest people who got there, the people in the front of the line, had gotten there at 4 a.m. Now that's dedication, but I gotta be honest, I'm a little surprised that people didn't camp out the entire night to be the first people in the store. But apparently, like in Monrovia, there was something going on the night before, like out on the street, so I don't know if that was even possible. But Rapid Wombat, you like Warhammer, but not that much. I mean, look, it's an experience, right? I mean, have any of you? I assume some of you have done, like when the Star Wars prequels came out. I mean, that was when most of us were doing it. But did none of you do the whole camping out all day thing? Was it just me? Well, again, Tiny Chris, I waited because I wanted someone to go with me. And Jessica was available and willing, but not that early. Nothing is worth camping out on the sidewalk? All right. Well. So anyway, so getting there at 8 o'clock, we were more than 100 people back in line. And even at 8 o'clock, it was getting hot. Let's put it that way. It was toasty at 8 o'clock. The store was scheduled to open at 10 a.m. Yeah, that's true. Have somebody go and wait in line. That's always a good plan. The team that was there for the store opening included like the employees that are going to be at the store, which I know a lot of them. So there's a Warhammer store here in Glendale, which is the next town over, and that store is like a nice Warhammer store. It's like one of the top tier ones, however they do it. And so for the new store, they poached the manager and a couple of the other people who work there to go work in the new store. And I know some of them. One of them is Oscar, who's a good friend of mine. So they were there, and they would like come out and talk to the crowd a little bit. And then there were a couple of other people, Warhammer Games Workshop employees. Yeah, so there was a lot of corporate stuff going on. 3 years ago, as we talked about last week, 3 years ago, Rabid Wombat, Ruiner, and I, and some other people, and Bert and Naeem, we went to the grand opening of the Texas store. And there we met some of the corporate people who go to big events and big store openings. So I saw several of those people on Saturday. I was like, "Oh, I know you. You were at that one." Oh, okay, yeah. So we saw them, and again, they would like come out and talk to the line, and be like, "Okay." Oh, and there were also, so they had marked off on the street like places to where you shouldn't stand to block other stores once they open, all sorts of stuff like that. They were pretty communicative. They would come out and tell everybody, update on what was going on. So here was the problem. And we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Here's the ugly. Now this store was supposed to open up, in theory, earlier this year. And it got delayed to open up now because of COVID and all that. So you'd think that everything would be ready to go. All their ducks in a row, everything prepared. And mostly that was the case. But the story they were spinning is that at the last phase of them bringing the stuff into the store to get ready for the opening, a pallet went missing. I don't know all of what was supposed to be on that pallet, but the main thing that was supposed to be on that pallet were cash registers. So for a grand opening of theoretically the biggest, best, and brightest new store in Los Angeles, where we have a fair amount of people, they had one cash register. Just the one. Combine that with COVID restrictions as far as how many people can be in a store at one time, and you can imagine the chaos that turned into. So skipping over some parts of the story, but so like I said, Jessica and I got to Monrovia at 8 o'clock. The store opened at 10 o'clock. We got into the store at almost 3 o'clock. So we spent the vast majority of our day standing outside in the hot sun and heat of Monrovia. It's already started to go away, but I don't know if you can see how red my neck got. So another reason why probably not a terrible thing that I did not bring my children. Oh, Tiny Chris, there was nothing that sophisticated going on. So that was unfortunate. Now, that's true, Arsenal Roy. It did not rain. I have to say, though, that everybody, top to bottom, everybody who... Oh, see Zardos? Yeah, Ruiner it. Okay. The good. Every single person there, employees and people waiting in line, everybody was cool. I did not hear or see a single jerk in all day long. Everybody, like, it felt like a community, like, okay, we're here to do this. It's going to take a long time. Okay, we're just going to get through it. I think people were just excited to be out and doing something with other people. We actually heard people say that, literally. So that was nice. But, yeah, I mean, I was thinking, thank God, or at least that we saw, like, there weren't people in the crowd or the line who had any, like, health conditions, because that could have been bad. There was nothing, they weren't handing out water. I thought maybe they could have prepared by setting out, oh, I see what you're saying, Zara, yeah. They could have put out some, like, cheap tents or something. What are you going to do? And again, I can understand things going wrong, but from what we were told, the store was supposed to be open weeks, months ago. How did this get left to the last minute? I don't know. Okay, so we wait in line for a very, very long time. As you may have seen, we attempted to stream. From my phone. Where's my phone? Oh. We attempted. It did not go well. I don't know if it was the sheer mass of people or just Monrovia itself, but it was a good 8 minutes. As soon as I started the stream, several things happened. My phone immediately became the temperature of the sun. I got all of these poor connection notifications that I've never seen before. And the delay instantly on the stream was like 4 minutes long. Yeah, Ruiner, right? That those nice people came up and sold us popsicles. Yeah, I don't know. Tiny Chris, I guess it was wild. So yeah, we attempted the stream. It was not going to go well, and then yeah, for the rest of the day, like I had no service. I was trying to upload pictures to the Discord, like there was nothing doing. In fact, I know that at some point, John came, and I maybe Naeem, I don't even know. I still haven't connected with everybody, but like I was trying to get messages in and out, and just wasn't happening. So sadly there was no streaming, but we did our time in line. Oh, and so the nice thing about you're out in line all day, but the nice thing about it being so hot was that no matter how much we were drinking, we never had to go to the bathroom. Yeah, Monrovia was not interested in us having an internet connection. So finally, after about 7 hours outside waiting line. Oh, and there were, like I said, there were lots of restaurants and other shops, so like we got food and brought it back and ate in line. And again, very nice people in line all around us, and people from all over California at least. There were people who had driven up from San Diego, so a couple hour drive. There were people from the Bay Area, so that's like a 7-hour drive. There was an older couple who was there on behalf of their nephew who lived somewhere else, and they were there to buy exclusives for him. So all that kind of stuff, which is great. And they had no idea what they were in for or what was going on, but they were cool, and they were again just talking to everybody. So 7 hours go by. We finally get into the store. The store is nice. It was well done. Tiny Chris, we got, like I said, so Jessica and I, we're great friends. We had a good time just hanging out and talking to one another all day. But yeah, it was a lot. Warhammer Store and Cafe, Los Angeles, clunky name. And I was so disappointed. The store in Texas got to be the Warhammer Citadel. Why doesn't the LA store have some cool name? I don't know. I don't get it. It's annoying. Oh, everybody was there to spend money, and that was the other thing. Again, with the whole cash register thing and the limited number of people inside, every single person there was there to make purchases. Otherwise, why wait in that fucking line in that heat? You're only there on that day to buy exclusives. So every single person going in is there to buy something. I was surprised because so many of the exclusives were one per person. I was surprised that nobody in line was talking to other people and saying, hey, are you buying one of everything? If not, can you buy this thing for me and I'll pay you back, blah, 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 blah. Genuinely surprised that I didn't hear that happening. Because when you go to Comic-Con, that happens all the time. I mean, I've had Comic-Con times when I've been in line for Hasbro, which is I could spend a whole hour talking about that. But where I've had deals going with like 5 different groups in front of me and behind me about what we're all buying for each other to do all of our trading afterwards. Anyway, so we get in there and the store is nice. Like they did a good job. It's painted, decorated, whatever. It's nice. It's not huge. I was expecting bigger. I was disappointed by the size. I think altogether the Texas store is probably bigger as far as usable space. There's certainly a bigger gaming space in the Texas store than here in the LA store. It's the store. It's kind of like a. It's long ways. So when you first walk in, you're in the general. Yeah, it wasn't that huge. I don't know. But you walk in and you're in like the main sales floor, and then a little bit past that, it kind of narrows, and there are a couple of seats opposite the cafe, which we'll come back to. And then it narrows even further because there are some bathrooms, and then the back is like a fairly small playing area. There were stairs to a downstairs area. That wasn't open, and I know at least one of that was going down to storage, so the other one I don't know if there's other things that are going to be open in the downstairs area later. Who knows? But I mean, I liken it to like if you go to a mall. It was like a good sized mall store, but not huge. I was expecting bigger. The playing area, obviously, like there was no playing going on this weekend, you know, COVID and all that, and all the people that were coming through. But yeah, I mean, the play area was, I mean, I want to say it was about the size of like the room I'm in now, and there were only, I'm trying to think, I think there were 3 long tables where people could play. And that was about it. But again, like everything was nice and clean, so that was good. The Texas is 4. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but the square footage of the play area in Texas definitely a lot bigger than it was here. Hey, Eridence, no problem. I'm just recapping everything that went on Saturday. Yeah, so I don't know. The first part when you walk in, again, like the big sales area, they could configure stuff there and have more tables. To, again, like they kind of had to move people around and stuff for restrictions and things, and there were a lot of displays out for, especially to hold all the exclusives. So maybe that could change, but yeah, it was definitely a little bit odd to see the full setup. The cafe felt very last minute. The counter was nice. Like overall, everything was nice. Like again, it was a nice building. They put a lot of care into the inside. The Texas store is a lot more decorated, like with cracks and bullet holes drawn in the walls. This store is much less kitschy than that. That's one way of explaining it. This store felt and looked a lot more sophisticated, if that makes sense. Not necessarily a good or bad thing, just a different kind of feel to the store. Do they have a real espresso machine? I have no idea. I don't drink coffee. I can't keep track of what's this and what's this. The problem with the cafe is that the menu, there were 3 menus up on the wall, and I shit you not, each of the 3 menus was this big. So standing 12 feet away, you couldn't read a goddamn thing it said. They were little tiny handwritten menus. Again, like, where's your signage? What the hell is going on here? And as I showed before... Ooh, and actually this kind of shows off the other thing as well. Yeah, it was on the pallet, maybe. This was opening day at the Texas store. Look at that menu. It's cute. It's silly. It's got artwork on it. Now, I will say also though, with all the COVID stuff, they were not looking to do a lot of food and drink business this weekend. Everything they had was technically to go. You weren't supposed to like eat and drink there, all that kind of stuff. So I on that side, I do give them a little bit of leeway, I suppose. But they were selling stuff, and you could buy things. I didn't get anything. Jessica got some kind of cold tea beverage. I don't think she liked it. I know definitely would not appreciate the bullet holes. Then there were a few display cases with miniatures in it that looked amazing, Forge World stuff and all that. There were public bathrooms, but they were not open on Saturday. There were signs that said because of COVID restrictions, they were not open. Which we didn't really understand because the other businesses that we went into, the place where we got lunch, and the other places, like, they had bathrooms. I don't know why Warhammer couldn't have bathrooms. But something that's kind of cool. There was at least one corporate, sure. There was at least one bathroom that was all gender inclusive bathroom, which was cool. 5 stores in the U.S. with bathrooms. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, and then like I said, in the front part where they had just the like the generic Games Workshop products was fine. The Black Library part was really nice. A lot of books on display. They had some like the collector edition books, which was nice. There were on the top of some of the display cases, and in some of the display cases were like tchotchkes and like decorative stuff, like skulls and things. And on the top of some of them were weapons, like foam and whatever prop weapons from the various Warhammer universes. And the line went right by a bookcase that had stuff on it. And on the top of this bookcase was a chainsword prop. And we've seen it, like, the leading up to this opening, the team there, they would like go out on the street and drag people over to take pictures and be like, look, we're part of the new Monrovia community. And they would take pictures with like a big Age of Sigmar hammer and this chainsword. So it was just on the top there. And at one point, an employee came over to tell us like what was running out of stock or whatever. And I said, okay, I have a question for you. Can I take that down and take a picture with it and put it back? And he said, no, you cannot. All right. And I had talked with Jessica. And I was like, should I just do it or should I ask permission? So I guess I should have just done it. But they were not interested in having us play with the props. Which is kind of a bummer. What are you going to do? Yeah, Rabid Wombat, that's true. Most Games Workshop / Warhammer stores, it's just the one person working, and that's it. So yeah, the less they have to deal with, the better. The person manning the cafe part of the store, like I said, Jessica talked to him, and I guess she said like, are you really into Warhammer? And of course the guy's like, yeah, I am. But I know, I assume that they just hired a barista, not like a Warhammer fan. Who knows? There were, yeah, acting skills, exactly. Speaking of which, my wife and I just started watching the show Barry last night, and holy crap, that show is amazing. We've heard lots of good things about it, but it's fantastic. And it is so LA. And like every scene, we're like, oh, that's that place, and we've been there. We saw a show there. It's great, super great. Highly recommend. But yeah, otherwise things went pretty well, again, with all of those caveats. So what did we buy? So I'm going to show various things that we purchased. Some of the stuff is stuff that Jessica bought. Some of it's my stuff. Some of it's for other people. So I'm not going to go into the details of where and who all of this stuff is going to. Another thing, so like I said, this store is just Warhammer Store and Cafe Los Angeles. Kind of a bummer, didn't get its own name like the Citadel in Texas. How much Forge World did I get? I will say that not every... So they have a Forge World section, which was really just... It's kind of like in Texas. So behind the counter, they had some racks of like the little plastic blisters, and you could like kind of look over and see what the little things were. And then they had a lot of the bigger tanks and Titan boxes up on the wall, but not really easily stuff that you could buy. Did I get a new army? No, I did not get a new army, unfortunately. I thought about it, but no. Honestly, it was kind of because like there were all of these exclusives, and essentially as soon as you walked in, you had to get in line. It was kind of hard to figure out like, okay, wait, I want this stuff, but I also want to browse, and it was a little bit of a weird shopping experience. Anyway, one of the things that disappointed me, I love swag, right? I mean, who doesn't? I love just stuff. Going back to the Texas opening 3 years ago, this is the kind of crap that I will spend money on all day long. It's branded Warhammer Citadel Store and Cafe Honor Pack. Oh, we got the gardeners in full force, so it's gonna get loud for a minute. So for this thing, you got a little pin. It says Warhammer Citadel. You got the coin. It's numbered out of 1,000, so I was like halfway through. Yeah, this is cool. They've got the logo with the 2 cups. There was very little like this at this store, which was a bummer. And I asked, and they're like, nah. Also from Texas were dice with the logo on there. And the cups are on the dice themselves on the 6 So that's cute. And you know, this stuff doesn't cost a lot of money, but so they didn't have much like that. In fact, really, the only things they had for sale that were like that is so they had these shirts. I got excited about the shirts, and it's not a very high quality shirt, but it does have the logo, such as it is, and then I was there, and then the date in Warhammer speak. So that's cute. Like I said, it's not a very high quality shirt at all. This was a shirt that like the employees were wearing, so they had a handful of them for sale. I don't think they had very many. I was like, all right, I'll get the shirt. That's like the one thing that has the branding on it. Other than they had a fair amount of drinkware with the logo on it. I know, right, Zardoz? If you see something that is Warhammer on it, that's not an obscene amount of money, you buy it. That's the rule. Yeah, so Jessica got a mug to commemorate the occasion. Otherwise, they had, like I said, they had a million exclusive things from like the past year, store opening exclusives and event exclusives, so lots of things like that. And these were all like one per person. So these aren't for me. These are for a friend of mine who plays Stormcast Eternals. But these are cool. Got those. They had a small amount of the licensed stuff. So there's a company called... There are two British companies that sell similar things. Okay, this one is Half Moon Bay, I think. And Half Moon Bay makes Warhammer... Yeah, Half Moon Bay. Warhammer stuff. Novelties, apparel things. So I got a pin for a friend of mine who plays Dark Angels. So lots of stuff that I got were for other people, friends of mine. The big deal were these. These are the new exclusives for this year. This was the first time you could anywhere in the world you could buy them. Was on Saturday. Apparently, despite them saying that not everybody should rush out to the store on Saturday, that they would have a bunch of these exclusives items for the first week or whatever. Apparently, these did sell out on Saturday. They have no more. They're not getting more. The next time you'll be able to get these is at the tournament series that they're doing later on this summer. So watch out. So I picked up some of these. Yeah, and again, all of this stuff is such false. What do they call it? Not false rarity, but false. What's the word? There's a term for it. I can't remember. I know. Shocked. All of this standard store opening stuff, though, they said if they run out of what they have on hand, they can get more in. So at least that was nice. Things like the store founding or store opening dice, which are some of my favorite dice in the world. False scarcity. Thank you, Zardoz. That's what I was thinking of. I love these dice. I already had one set of them. Now I have more. And then okay, so then when you buy things at one of these openings, and I talked about this a little bit last week, there's a million things you can buy. And then if you buy certain amounts, $50, $100, $150, $200, they load you up with a bunch of free crap. It's like, all right, well, there's some cool free stuff. Free. So what do I need to buy to get to these different levels? So I did buy the largest item, I should say, I bought. And again, like, I don't know when I'm ever going to do any of these things, but the biggest thing I bought that they had announced right beforehand is that they found they discovered somewhere a box of these. Now, what's interesting about this is that technically, this box of tanks is only ever supposed to be sold at Warhammer World, their home base back in the UK. This isn't something they bring to conventions or events usually. I mean, it even says it on the top, Warhammer World exclusive. So that was interesting. It's a Land Raider and a Rhino with a bunch of special parts, or like one sprue of special parts. So we'll see. Am I ever going to get around to? Are those things playable? Nah. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then so again, the 7 hours that we were waiting to get in, well, the 5 hours that we were waiting to get in with other people coming out, seeing some people walk out with that, I was like, okay, well, that'll be the first thing to run out that day. But they had kind of a lot of them when I got in there. Like, oh, yeah, one box of these they discovered, sure. right, the low quality ones. Yeah, I haven't opened it, so I don't know exactly what's inside. Okay, so freebies. What else? So if you buy anything at any store opening for Games Workshop, they give you one of these. This is a store opening pin to celebrate. Now, these are super cool. It's great. They actually give you this for free no matter how little or how much you spend. Again, though, kind of a bummer that it's not, like, branded at all for the store. Like, say there was a local little Warhammer store opening near you. You went in there 5 times and bought stuff. You'd get 5 of the exact same pin, and you wouldn't know the difference. And yeah, you could sell them or give them away or whatever. But they're not, like, there's not really a reason to collect these because you don't know where they came from. So I have one of these from Texas. I have one of these from a store opening that I went to here in the LA area a few years ago. But, like, they're not different. They're just it's all the same pin. So that, again, a little bit of a bummer. But again, definitely makes it easier and cheaper for Games Workshop to produce them because they are generic. Yeah, that's supposed to have the cash register. There's like a Warhammer lanyard thing, which is nice, whatever. I have a massive collection of lanyards and badge holders from the thousands of conventions that I've been to over the years. So it'll go with that. Most doors in our house with actual door handles have lanyards and badge holders hanging off of them. Most of them. And then there are boxes of them in closets and all that. I got a pack of Warhammer 40k card sleeves to sleeve your card games or your objective cards, I guess, whatever. And that's technically a store anniversary item, not even necessarily a store opening item. So again, depending on when you go to one of these events, there'll be a mixture of things that are going on. Now, I did say there were a couple of other branded things. I got the shirt. There were mugs, drinkware, that sort of thing. They were handing out, when you made a purchase, they were handing out pens. And the pen does say Warhammer Store and Cafe Los Angeles. It's a pen on one side and a stylus on the other side. Which is cool. These things are ridiculously cheap. Like, they are so flimsy, it feels like just activating the pen is going to break it. And they're all scuffed and marked. So. Yeah. It is what it is. It's fine. And they were almost literally throwing these at people. When we went to make our purchase, so it was partly COVID. So if you pay with credit card, they're like, here, use one of those pens to sign. And they said, you can keep it. And then they said, you want another one? Here, take another one. So they're like, take more pens. So there was a mountain of these things. If you were friendly in line and one of the staff people noticed, they were handing out these to people. So these were not for sale, or at least not that we saw. Who knows, they might have them later to give away with drinks and stuff. But Jessica was nice in line, and somebody gave her one of these. Oh, and then if you did buy things, the freebies that you got came in these bags, issued for the Defense of Cadia, which is pretty cute. They're like, you could turn the bag into a backpack if you wanted. So that was kind of cool. And what else? Oh, probably the thing I was most excited about. Again, if you bought up to a certain level, you got one of these little over-the-shoulder bags. I thought the bags were new. I might be confusing it with some other promotion, but I already have the 40k version, so I got the Age of Sigmar one. So I got a bag. And what else? Oh, and then there was like a pack of art prints that we got, which I haven't opened because I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. But yeah, so a sealed thing of art prints. So yeah, stuff and things and more stuff and more things. Zardoz, I didn't see any of the the chapter posters, and I don't think it's one of the art prints. Yeah, in Texas they were handing those out, but not here. So we only took a couple of pictures, only because again, like the limitation for how many people could be in, plus the fact that the entire store was just a line, and honestly, I felt bad for the people outside. Like I didn't want to spend too much time just loitering inside when there were people outside who've been waiting in the sun for 7 hours, just like we were. So we didn't hang out to take too many pictures. But the pictures that we do have, I will show you. So here I am in front in the Black Library section, which again was pretty cool. They had a lot of books. You can see some of the special editions. Right behind me is a display of miniatures that were all, done up and painted real nice. You can see a little bit above me, there was that hammer. You were not allowed to touch that hammer, but it sure looked cool up on top. Oh, and I should say, so at the Texas opening, other than just going in and buying stuff, there were some other things going on. They had a Warhammer artist who was there that you could get things, like, we didn't actually do it, but that was happening. There was like a little photo op thing, if I'm remembering correctly. So nothing like that was going on here. And again, because of COVID. There was no like hang around and do this, and I mean I wasn't nice in line. I was nice in line, but I don't know, I guess they didn't hear me being nice in line, which is fine. Or maybe they just gave it to the ladies, which is also fine. There were not a lot of ladies there, but there were some. Jessica was not the only lady. Let's put it that way. Oh, and you could have seen in that picture, like, the overall style was kind of like dark, sophisticated, I would say, is the overall style for this store. And then when you first walk in, you're greeted by this fella. So they took one of these absolutely ancient Space Marine, very LA, yeah, for sure. They took one of these ancient Space Marine statues that, I mean, these things have been around for 1,000 years, and then they made it into an Imperial Fist chaplain. Let's see if I can show. Oh, it's not working very well. So again, in comparison to the one in Texas, I have a lot of bags on Saturday. Man, Games Workshop could really use an updated statue. These things are, I mean, it's true to life. I mean, if you find old Space Marines, the little minis, they certainly still have these proportions, but they could, like I said, they could use some new statues one of these days. Hey, Darrow! Oh my God, so many gifts for everyone. Gifts for everyone. Oh, Ruiner, was that yours? I was trying to think of, who took the pictures, but that's great. Well, thank you, Ruiner, for taking that picture, because it's a great one. Yeah, and they had announced that, that Imperial Fists were going to be some part of the lore for this store, but it was just that one guy. Just that one dude. I don't seem to age. Well, thank you. Although here, I mean, well, I guess, yeah, I'm here. So yeah. So it was a very long day. We didn't end up leaving until, what time did we leave Monrovia? Like 5? So we got there at 8. We left at 5 after having done our shopping. Oh yeah, there were a couple things hanging down. Yeah, there is a servo skull there. Can I? Here, I'll make the picture bigger. Yeah, so they did have some, like I said, there were like small decorative things around. So again, some prop weapons, the servo skull. There were a couple things like that. And again, if there was more time and there weren't 1,000 people outside waiting, I would have spent more time, actually like looking around at all this stuff. But I just felt bad. Man, that Space Marine is ugly. Ugh. They gotta make a cool Primaris statue one of these days. Scott on location, that's right. Hey Patty, how's it going? We even attempted to stream, but yeah, it didn't go so well. The Lauren store is bigger. It's definitely possible. It was not huge. But yeah, overall, very long day, very hot, but we certainly had fun. Jessica and I can have fun anywhere, I think. I'll talk more in the future about some of the stuff that I bought that I am going to be working on. There were things that I purchased that were not on hand, so I'll be getting some other things in a little bit later. Yeah, Monrovia. Yeah, yeah, Patty, exactly. Yeah, we waited in line for 7 hours in the hot heat and sun. It was great. It was all good. I'm trying to think if there's any other like particular weirdness or chaos that day. Like I said, we talked to people in line. Everybody was super nice. People from all over the place. The Bath and Beyond next door is big. Yeah, I don't know. We were promised a big store, and look, there are some Warhammer stores that are like closets. I know several of you are familiar with that style. So compared to those, this thing was sprawling. But yeah, it was nothing like. Who was I talking to? Talking to somebody who's not in this hobby at all, and they're like, "Oh, is it like the size of a Whole Foods or a department store or something?" I was like, no, nothing like that. Did I wear sunscreen? I did not. So again, I don't know how much of my My neck is still red. There was sunscreen around. Jessica was smart enough. She brought and was wearing sunscreen. There were definitely very pasty nerds there who were just slathered in sunscreen, which was smart. I actually have some genetic ability to tan a little bit, so slightly, very slightly. I'm alright. It's fine. That didn't bother. The heat bothered me. The sun beating down on me didn't bother me that much. But yeah, so that was our Warhammer store and cafe Los Angeles adventure. Yeah, so I got the Age of Sigmar Stormcast Eternals for a friend of mine. I got the new exclusives that are brand new. This was the first place you could ever buy them in the world. Chaos Lady, you could easily convert her into stuff, and then like this Necron fellow. And then the big thing I got was what usually is only available at the Warhammer World store in England, the tanks. And then some other little stuff and some freebies. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like an actual huge Warhammer store would be so cool. All the things you could do in it. But whatever. See you, Rabbit Wombat. Thanks for hanging out. Even in England, though, I've never been to Warhammer World, their home base headquarters. I would absolutely love to go one day. But even that, like, they have a massive gaming area, but when they have like actual conventions and things, they take out space in the nearby buildings too. Like, it's not even just in that building. But yeah, cool. I do need to get going. We've got family stuff happening today, but hopefully you enjoyed hearing about what all craziness went down on Saturday. And yeah, if you want, you could check out that the VOD of us trying to stream from my phone on Saturday. It just wasn't gonna happen, but we tried. And yeah, streaming this week, schedule still up in the air, but hopefully it'll be fairly normal. Tomorrow, Jessica stream 5 o'clock Pacific, continuing on with my new favorite game, Disco Elysium. We did die last time. We died of shame and sadness, but we came back. We learned from our mistakes and we came back. It was bad though. It was traumatizing for sure. So don't do that. Don't ask out somebody who you've harmed. 4 a.m. Yes. Yeah. So we're gonna, let's see. Who should we raid here? Oh man, we got a lot of people going on. We can raid Hyper. They're talking about the week ahead. Maybe there'll be Warhammer on Hyper this week. You never know. Hyper. Thank you so much, Dara, for those commands. I appreciate that. Okay. Ooh, look at those name combinations. Asajj from Star Wars. Natalia shows up in a bunch of places. And Ash. I think we all might be familiar with at least one famous character named Ash out there. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me, listening to me ramble on about our weekend adventures. I hope you're all off to a good week. Don't work too hard. Stay inside if you can, because it's going to be hot. At least for most of us here in the United States, depending on where you live. So watch out for that. We're going to raid Hyper RPG. So go give them love. Tell them you want more Warhammer on Hyper RPG. I mean, there are more days in the week. It doesn't have to just be one. But And I will see everybody tomorrow afternoon over on Jessica. Our Doomsday. It's still a Doomsday stream, even though we're not reading Dune anymore. All right, have a good one, everybody. We are going to implement, enact the raid, and I'll talk to you all later and on Discord. Okay, bye.